Shit We've Read is a proud member of Bilo Network, a network of geeky podcasts.
Please visit shitwe'veread.com to support the show.
Now let's talk about some books.
Ho, 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 and welcome to Shit We've Read. The sound of sleigh bells in the background, which I will definitely be adding in post, can only mean one thing, that it is our holiday special. So we're here again to do another Secret Santa book exchange. I am Jayson Rico. I will be leading the first part of this episode. If you've listened before, you know that this is a two-part episode. We do the book exchange first, and then reconvene at a later date to give our thoughts on the books. So yes, like I said, I am Jayson. I'm one of the hosts. I am here to my left with Bella Romero. Hi, Bella.
Hello.
Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm okay. We're celebrating Christmas.
Moving on.
Close to Halloween.
We are recording this in it's still early November.
November 12th.
We're close to mid-November, but not quite there.
I'd say mid. We're mid-November.
We're on the cusp. We want to give ourselves enough time to read these books because, and I'm not saying names. Last time, two of us did not finish the book. There were other factors at play.
You gave me a 500
I didn't say names,
book.
Emma.
You gave me like a 420-something page book with the tiniest little font.
A 500-page book with no audiobook.
And like a 12-page.
Look, we learned from
glossary
that
of names.
experience. We learned.
We did learn.
There's some crazy shit in it, by the way.
You're welcome. Anyhow, so you've heard her, Emma. Hi, Emma. How's it going?
Can I make a formal request that you open the Railed by the Krampus episode the same way?
Sure.
I'm gonna need you to practice up on
But
that.
I need
booming
it to
ho,
be-
ho, ho.
With like a German accent,
No,
I feel.
but I need it to be a Krampus-related greeting. What does Krampus do?
Oh, he says
Kill
ho, ho,
people?
ho,
I
but it's a
don't
different
know.
kind of ho.
Oh,
my God.
Anyhow, we're also joined by Laura Benson. Hi, Laura. How's it going? Thanks for being here.
Good. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
It will be fun. We did this last year, and it was a lot of fun, so we thought we'd do it again, obviously. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. For those who have returned, thanks for coming back. Hopefully, this one's as fun as last time. Now on to the gift exchange. Before we pass out the gifts, let's go over the rules. There was a survey that went out. We all filled it out again. We all added information about the kind of books we enjoy, the type of tropes we like, themes, things we don't like, spice level, all that kind of stuff that would help each other, that would help inform us of what kind of books to get each other.
I want to emphasize that we did include number of pages
This time there was, yes.
so that we can finish
For those
the book.
who shall not be
This time,
named, to stop from buying fucking thick-ass books.
I'm sorry.
Books with cake.
And yeah, and then we randomized the names, spat them into the internet, and the internet spat them back to us. Yeah. And then we bought each other books. Mm-hmm. So let's pass them out. I'm just going to reach into the bag randomly and grab what seems to be a just easily wrapped one.
what?
The rules were you just wrap it in simple wrapping paper.
The rules were we were supposed to...
And Laura's is in a nice gift box with tissue. So someone again didn't follow the rules. There may be a recurring theme here. We won't find out. We won't find out for a number of weeks. Anyhow, Laura, go ahead and open your
Very
book.
pointed.
Okay. The First Sister. You know what? This has been, I believe, on my TBR for a really long time. I think. Because I know the cover.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool.
It's very shiny.
It is very, yeah. It's got a little like gold kind of thing to it. Should I mean, it's a little long.
Just do it.
I don't remember what it's about personally, so.
We can edit around it if it's too long.
Go for it.
The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. First Sister has no name and no voice. As a priestess of the sisterhood, she travels the stars alongside the soldiers of Earth and Mars. Ooh. The same ones who own the rights to her body and soul. Oh, okay. When her former captain abandons her, First Sister's hopes for freedom are dashed as she is forced to stay on her ship with no friends, no power, and a new captain. Saito Ren whom she knows nothing about. She is commanded to spy on Captain Wren by the Sisterhood, but soon discovers that working for the war effort is so much harder to do when you're falling in love. Aw. I don't remember this having a love story. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it though. Leto Sol Lucius climbed his way out of the slums to become an elite soldier of Venus, but was defeated in combat by none other than Saito Ren, resulting in the disappearance of his partner Hiro. When Leto learns that Hiro is both alive and a traitor to the cause, he now has a shot at redemption. Track down and kill his former partner. But once he discovers recordings that Hiro secretly made, Leto's own allegiances are put to the test. Ultimately, he must decide between following orders and following his heart. A stunning and sweeping debut novel that explores the power of technology, colonization, race, and gender. The First Sister is perfect for fans of James S.A. Corey, Chuck Wendig, and Margaret Atwood. This sounds really cool. Now I'm reminded why I was interested in this in the first place. Cool.
I'm really curious to see, because I think I remember this book now. I think it also at one point was on my list.
It's on my maybe list.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it has a really good combination of different genres.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy those when, obviously it leans heavily sci-fi, my kind of thing, but it still has a little bit of other things in it. Mm-hmm. So
very cool.
Whoever got this for me,
well, you have to guess.
I thought we were going to guess at the end.
We guessed last time. We guessed initially, and then we would change our guess based on reading it.
But don't we wait for everybody to have theirs
until everyone gets
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you.
Laura
Whoever
gets
gets
the most time. Laura gets the most time to think. If whoever goes last gets the least.
So Laura better get it right.
Great.
Okay, reaching back into the bag for the next one that is this wrapped. I'll go with this one. This is nice wrapping paper. Who is it for? This is...
It's for me.
It says Bella.
Yep. Why do you say
allegedly?
It says it's for you, but...
Allegedly for me. Ooh.
What'd you get?
A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. This looks, first of all, excellent cover. I do judge a book by its cover, so that's very important.
It's very pretty.
It's very. This is like very my aesthetic of stars and navy blue and gold. So I'm a fan so far. Let's read it. Cordelia. Ugh, I love the name Cordelia because it makes me think of Cordy and Buffy, obviously. Cordelia knows her mother is unusual. Their house doesn't have any doors between rooms. There are no secrets in this house. And her mother doesn't allow Cordelia to have a single friend. Unless you count Falada, her mother's beautiful white horse. The only time Cordelia feels truly free is on her daily rides with him. But more than simple eccentricity sets her mother apart. Other mothers don't force their daughters to be silent and motionless for hours, sometimes days on... God, I can't... Sorry, it's so low light, I cannot read. Do
you need us to, hold our phone light?
No, it's okay. I just have to be really close to it. When her mother unexpectedly moves them into the manor home of a wealthy older squire and his kind but keen-eyed sister Hester, Cordelia knows this welcoming pair are to be her mother's next victims. But Cordelia feels at home for the very first time among these people, and as her mother's plan darkens, she must decide how to face the woman who raised her to save the people who have become like family. Ooh, this looks interesting. I'm excited. Oh yeah, it's a retelling of the Goose Girl.
Have you read T. Kingfisher before?
No.
Oh, there you go.
But I've heard about this one. What Moves the Dead? Yeah.
I've read
Metal and Bone.
I've read What Moves
yeah,
the Dead. That's nice.
A lot of their books are not officially on my TBR, but are on my TBR.
That's the one you had me read for the end of Pride Month, right?
Yes. I believe
That's
it's
right.
yeah, it's
That's
trans protagonist. So
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, the Edgar Allan Poe retelling?
Yes.
Which one's that one? The
What
Dead.
Moves the Dead, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I didn't know it was Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes,
Yeah, it was
retelling
a-
of The Fall of the House of Usher.
It was a novella, so it was a pretty quick read.
All right, well, might read 2 books then. Okay, exciting. Nice job. So far, 10 out of 10.
All right.
All right, next.
Next one.
Next
And goes
book.
into the bag, and I pull out a gift for me. It's got little trucks on it.
Aw.
When I think Jayson, I think truck guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Manhunt by Gretchen Flecker Martin.
Oh.
Because
I know what the cover looks like. Jayson, you want to show that cover?
Yeah, I want to see.
I think you gotta show the
I want to
cover.
see.
His face, guys.
Oh.
For those
okay.
listening, the cover features a pair of plums in a little mesh bag, in the style of reminiscent of a pair of testicles.
I thought you were going to be a lot more like,
No,
a pair of male genitalia.
No, and on the side of it says the end of the world is nuts, just to really drive
All right.
home the point. Some of the blurbs on the cover say, by far the best book I've read this year. Brilliantly imagined, a modern horror masterpiece, a filthy, furious delight.
Ooh.
Okay.
I love a little
Okay, here's a synopsis from the back.
Okay.
Beth and Fran spend their days traveling the ravaged New England coast, hunting feral men and harvesting their organs in a gruesome effort to ensure they'll never face the same fate. Robbie lives by his gun and one hard-learned motto: other people aren't safe. After a brutal accident entwines the three of them, this found family of survivors must navigate murderous turfs, a sociopathic billionaire bunker brat, and awkward relationship dynamics, all while outrunning packs of feral men and their own demon.
Wow.
So 2 references of feral men.
It's the little giggle in your voice when you read, and feral men.
Wow.
Okay.
Rico.
I don't know how I feel about this. I'm very eager to read this.
Did you say eager?
Yeah, I'm very curious to read this. I'm like,
Your
Somebody said,
face.
Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
feral men.
Rico's reaction is killing me.
The look on
I don't
your
think I've ever seen you
face, the
so
look on your face.
flustered. And we read Monster Smut with you.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. Okay.
I'm excited to hear next time what you think of it.
For sure.
It's gonna be like tomorrow. He's just gonna go home, read this book, and be like,
He's like, okay, we're ready to record.
I'll never be the same. Feral men.
This is ready to record part 2 right now.
Yeah, he's like, I'm already got thoughts.
On the survey, there was a section that said if you wanted spice, up to what level did we want? And I did say it could be up to 5, like 5 out of 5. So I was game for that. I may change my answer for next year. Depending on this book, we'll see. It might be great. I'm hoping it's similar to Butcher and Blackbird, where like you get 2 people murderous, there's some violence, sexy, but great.
I have not read that.
So we'll see.
know you guys
If
have.
it's similar to that, then it'll be good.
Excellent.
It's just the cover. It's the cover that's getting me.
It's the cover.
I don't know. I think they did a good job on the cover.
I think so too.
Okay. Next one is...
I wonder who it could be
Who
for.
can it be for? Emma.
This feels like an attack based on the fact that I didn't finish last time. Is how short this book is.
Wow.
It's
Somebody was
basically
like-
wait, sorry, where did it go? Where did it go just now? I can't even see it.
Wow. He's like, what are we doing? This is a terrible bit. No fucking way!
Oh, she just
Wait a minute.
ate her words.
Okay, wait. Okay, this is 2 different. Okay, so I thought it was something else. I have heard of this one, but I thought it was something else that uses a similar cover. I actually think it might use the same cover as this. This is A Proper Dragon by E.B. Wheeler, which I do believe is... Well, let's find out. So this says, if Phoebe's magic didn't behave, London would be a disaster. Phoebe Hart is one of the Dragon-Linked, those chosen by a young dragon as a companion who get magic in return. Her family and country neighbors have never been happy about her abilities, so she hopes to find her place in London. But neither her dragon nor her magic behaves as she would wish, and London is full of pitfalls. Runaway girls in need of saving, anti-magic Luddites threatening the Dragon-Linked, and the handsome but chilly Viscount Westing, who continually catches Phoebe off guard. Can she navigate London's cutthroat ballrooms and drawing rooms to have a triumphant season and unmask a dangerous enemy in the process? This is gonna be fun.
Damn. I think I did see that and clock it. Like, I hope
This is gonna be
Emma
fun.
like reads this book at some
A
point.
Regency Gaslamp Fantasy. I do love Gaslamp Fantasy.
What is a gas lamp
Yeah,
fantasy?
what is gas?
Gaslamp Fantasy is like Shades of Magic, like that sort of like Gaslamp era of history of like late 1800s or like mid 1800s. Even
Okay.
in fantasy, it's like that kind of. But yeah, and it is a whopping 208 pages. This feels like an attack.
Excellent.
I did think I am curious to look at the cover of Unequal Affection, which I think uses a similar, if not the same, stock image for the cover, which is what I thought it was. I was like, how did somebody find a physical copy of that? Because you can't.
Wow.
But this looks cute. Look at her little dragon. Little dragon.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm really excited for you to read that, and I'm going to add that to
It's
my
gonna be
TBR.
fun.
Do you think you can finish it in time?
To be fair, the only reason, because I feel like I read faster than all of you.
Yeah.
The only reason it took me so
do.
long last time is because there was some messed up shit in that book. It was so dark.
It did come from Rico.
It did come from me.
So.
Fair enough. I will also add to that, though. I listened to last year's episode, the first half, just kind of get ready for this to see what the
Okay.
process was and just kind of go over everything. You specifically said the reason you didn't finish it is because the book you read before it fucked you up.
What
and
did I
the
read
book
before
you
it?
read before it
Oh, he's got an answer.
was Bella's
Oh my
After Dark book.
god! So it's your
Yeah.
fault.
Bitch, please! Are you fucking kidding me? I am not
specifically
taking
said-
the fault for that.
My
What
God.
was the one we read?
The Sting of
That
Victory.
one.
Sting
You
of
said
Victory.
that one. It was you couldn't read anything after that.
I really that did
So-
blue screen
so-
my brain.
So it was long. I'll give you that, but also it's mostly Bella's fault.
Rude.
Okay, now we've all opened our books. Laura, who do you think gifted you yours?
I know Bella got mine last year, but I have a feeling this is from Bella.
Okay.
It's my first initial thoughts.
Okay. You opened yours next, right?
Yes.
So who do you think gifted yours?
Emma got me last year. This is giving Emma vibes. But I think it was you.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Who do you think got you?
Oh, fuck. Who indeed?
Looking at it again, it's killing me.
I don't know.
Just-
I have no clue.
You guys are seated across from him. I can feel the energy.
Well, whoever got it for me hates me. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
So it was Emma for last
Probably.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's my guess. But
I am kind of leaning Emma because of the smuttier nature. I feel like you run in that circle more than anybody, that you would just be aware of this perhaps or come
Okay.
across it.
So here's the thing is I actually know about all of these books, but last year I knew too much about yours. You thought it was me, but I know about all
you
of these
also
books.
wrapped mine in the Amazon things, and
That's
then you told
fair.
us you're like, oh, mine, and then I got it, and I was like, I wonder who this could be
Wow.
from. So
Yeah, I kind of gave yourself away.
you gave yourself away, and you had just done your book club on it, so you know.
No, we were about to do book club.
Sorry,
on
you were
it.
about to do your book club. Wow.
I think Bella got it for me.
All right.
I think Bella. I think of anybody, the one person who's going to be like,
Anybody?
I'm going to get him a book that might fuck with him a little bit. It's going to be you. So my guess is Bella.
I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's Emma getting revenge on you.
Like, we'll see.
My guess is either, so again, Jayson had me last year. I feel like this could be another Jayson because you tend to find the more obscure things. This is pretty obscure.
That's fair.
But also,
So
it is
So does.
Regency. And Regency points to Bella.
Oh, good point.
I do have a book recommendation for you.
So, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, already somebody is wrong because nobody's guessed me.
Yes.
Again, I think last year no one guessed you
Nobody
again.
guessed me either.
Laura, you just fly under the radar, you know?
Whoa! Didn't I say Laura or you?
But you ended up choosing me.
You chose, yeah.
I know.
We said the same thing
Yeah.
in the last
Yeah.
one.
Ooh, this is a big decision to make right on the spot. I'm gonna guess Jayson. I do feel like Jayson has me again this
So
year.
Laura didn't get
Okay.
anybody, guys.
Again,
Still.
Laura,
You're
wow.
unknowable.
You just
You
don't
are-
know. You just don't know what I would get.
You're a mystery. Wrapped in an indigo. Oh my god. You know what? It was gonna be funny if I didn't have a stroke in the middle of it.
Take 2, go.
No, it's lost. It's lost forever. The moment was there, now it's gone.
Okay, so there we go. We all have our books. We all have our marching orders for the next couple of weeks. I'm excited to hear everybody's thoughts after reading them, and then see if anybody changes their guess of who got who. Everybody listening,
It'd be like a 12-second break for you
yeah.
guys.
So
Yep.
we'll see you in a moment. Bye.
Bye.
Please enjoy this musical interlude. I don't know. Is that what you're gonna do?
It is now. It is now.
Welcome back, listeners, to the podcast you were listening to half a second ago. You've not left. It's welcome back for us.
Cool. Part 2.
It's been 3 weeks for us?
Little over
Something
3
like
weeks, I
that,
think.
yeah.
So we don't remember where this conversation left off. Couldn't tell you what the last thing we said was. But welcome back to all of us. I'll say that because the listeners,
you.
screw the listeners. Welcome back to all of us.
I'm really glad all of us showed up with our books in tow.
Everybody
Jayson?
showed up with their
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
without fail. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, Jayson?
In my defense, you don't need a physical book for an audio podcast. Okay, I forgot.
We were
I
supposed to
forgot
take a
that we
picture.
wanted to take a photo, so that's my bad. I'll note to that. But for the recording, you listening at home, you don't get to see the book either way. It doesn't matter.
We can go see if we can find a book in the office, and then you can Photoshop.
See, but now
cover
you've called it out. So when I post it on social media, everybody is going to know.
gonna look for it.
The
that-
people who listen are gonna know.
Yes, and they're going to look extra close
They're
and
gonna
see
be-
how
They're
bad my
gonna see
Photoshop
that
They're
job
gonna
is.
be
AI
in on the
blurry
joke.
edge.
They're going to be like, ooh, the lighting doesn't quite match. The shadows are going the
Listen.
wrong direction.
Listen, you can
I think
take our
that's fine.
books.
I feel like we're ignoring the fact that of all of our books, Jayson had the most salacious cover.
That is
So
very true.
feels like this
Yeah.
might have been
That
intentional.
is true. Look, I put it on my nightstand and I've been looking at it every night before bed. That is why I forgot it.
Okay.
So I guess we're just gonna get right into it then. There's really no. Again, you guys are here, so I guess we're starting.
You've been here.
You've been here. You've not. I don't know why I'm so thrown by that fact that like it's been so long for us, and you're in the same.
I'm like,
And
you are
this-
not designed for time travel.
I'm
this-
truly not.
And this is not your first holiday
It's not.
episode either.
It's not. It's also not my first time hosting part of the holiday episode, so I don't
No.
know why I'm thrown
No.
so bad. Can somebody take this away from me, Laura?
right.
What's up with your book?
Yeah. So. So again, it's The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. It kind of had a little bit of everything. I think I mentioned that last time. It's definitely more of a sci-fi book, but it kind of had a little bit of fantasy vibes going. Because there's some like interesting religious stuff going on that can also border on fantasy.
Okay.
And so it's about the first sister who is a high-ranked woman in this religion who is stationed on a spaceship. There's a lot of political stuff going on where she's trying to keep herself at the top. She's trying to stay the first sister versus second, third sister, and so on. And so you kind of find throughout the book that this religion is really wrapped into the political side. And then there's another planet that's also warring with their government, and it's kind of like a few different stories that end up kind of converging. I really liked it, but I felt like it didn't necessarily give me enough information about, I would say, maybe the religious side, because it's heavily about the religion, but I don't understand fully what they believe or why they're in charge, and like there were just some things about it that I just did not fully understand. Now, I will say this is the first book in the series, though. I think there's 2 more. I might be wrong on that, but I know there's at least a second one, which is The Second Sister. And so I am planning to continue the series though, because I think it is interesting enough and it did catch my attention enough for me to want to continue. So I'm hoping that I will get my questions answered in the next book.
I think that's the win for whoever gifted the book, if you're going to continue the series.
Mm-hmm. What?
I think that's the win for whoever gifted you the book, because you're continuing the series.
I think so. Yes. So, but yeah, I would recommend it to anyone who does like mostly sci-fi, but if you like a little bit of the religion, a little bit of the politics, this definitely is interesting, especially because it sometimes kind of reminds me of Star Wars.
Okay.
Not necessarily like the fighting and, you know, the force and stuff. It's just the way certain things happen or like certain vibes kind of reminded me of the political.
Like the space opera vibes of it all.
Space opera, but it's political but also religious in a way. You know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I definitely recommend it. My original guess was Bella, but I am changing my guess. I think it was Emma.
Hey, I got a book. Somebody has guessed me.
So you did do your homework.
Somebody has guessed me.
I'm guessing Emma, one, because Emma brought, I say Emma, whoever brought this book, put it in a bag instead of wrapping it.
Why does the wrapping always come down to me?
But
I don't know,
also,
Emma. I don't know. We'll find out.
I feel like it's
this is part 2.
It's too sci-fi for Bella to gift.
I don't know if it's insulting to you.
No offense.
Last time I gave you a sci-fi graphic novel, so...
That's true.
But you didn't do any research into that
true.
one.
And you said
I did.
You had Z tell you what to get me.
Well, yeah, but I did do research, and I was like, this keeps coming up. Do I get it? And they were like, yes.
You also said this is like Star Wars, and Bella does like Star Wars.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
I'm insulted.
Yeah, I'm insulted.
Thank you for defending my
I'm
honor.
sorry.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good is what I feel like.
What would you rate this book?
I would say probably 3.5.
Okay.
I think this is the book where I would judge the series. Sometimes it's hard to really judge an individual book.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think because again I had so many questions. I think this will be more of a series rating because I want those answers.
That's fair. Still a positive for whoever got that book, which was not me apparently. I could never have picked it.
Couldn't be you.
Couldn't be me. I'm off the table.
If it came in a bag, it's from me. So,
so whoever
We'll find out at the end.
whoever it was, they did a good job. If you're gonna read the series, so
all right.
all right. Is it
Solid start. It is your turn, Bella.
turn
Tell us
next.
about your book. Tell us what you thought.
So, A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. It is definitely a fantasy book. There is no science, so whoever did that, good job. There's definitely no science
Bella
involved.
is not science.
I am not science. This is a fairy tale retelling of the Goose Girl fable by the Brothers Grimm, which is actually one that I don't know super well. Like I did have to search it after. And I've read
Little Thieves.
Little Thieves, which is another retelling. And I loved that book. So I was really excited for like another twist, another flavor of it. It's set like in a time and a place that we don't like get anything specific, but you know, they don't have electricity, there's wagons. It feels very like Bridgerton-esque. So if you like Bridgerton, it's a good vibe. You know, there's lords and ladies and etiquette. There's definitely magic involved. There's definitely like trigger warning for like parental abuse, like child abuse, animal abuse. It's all in here. It's pretty mild, but like as someone who has strained family relationships, I was like, okay, not the book I would have picked for Christmas, y'all, but it was still very good. There's an abusive mother throughout the entire book. Like the whole thing is she makes her daughter obedient. That's in the synopsis, so I'm not giving that away. But it's like literally she takes control of her daughter's body, like what she says, what she can do, to the point where like she can harm herself or others. And she can do it to other people. And it's a wild ride. I really liked this book for like the first 75%, and the last 25%, I have words for T. Kingfisher.
Uh-oh.
I got a little disappointed. It was really rushed to the point where I was like, is there a second book? There's no way they can wrap up everything they've sort of dropped in here. If we could do spoilers, I have so many thoughts on this, but there's a couple of things that are dropped in the book that kind of allude to something bigger, like a bigger payoff later that wasn't there. And I was really bummed because I was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. And they didn't do it. And the ending just felt like very convenient. I always forget the term for when like someone comes in at the end of the day.
Ex machina?
This was an ex machina ending, which is always really disappointing. So I was like, really? That's how it's going to happen? Okay. So love the book up until it was like very obvious that the ending was going to be really rushed. Like I think up until the last 4 chapters, I was like, how is she going to wrap this up in 4 chapters? And I got my answer and I didn't like it. But I did enjoy. But I loved the book. Like I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. I was captivated. Like beautiful cover. Like very well written. Very creative. Like overall plot storyline. Was very like cozy gothic murder mystery / just general mystery vibes. So very good time. I would still recommend this book, but I think I would rate it like. Up until that ending, it probably would have been like a solid 4 stars, but like 3 because of that ending, unfortunately.
That's a big jump.
Star.
3.5. It really, I've been sitting with it more, and the more and more I think about it, I'm really mad about the ending. Guys, I didn't like the ending so much. I read it twice. No, possibly 3 times because I listened to it.
Yeah.
And then I read it back, and then I kept thinking about it more. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm really bummed.
Well, at least majority of it, you had a good time.
And like, we'll be reading more T. Kingfisher, but I have words for T. Kingfisher about this ending. So, yeah.
Okay. Has your guess changed at all?
Who did I say before? I thought it was Rico. It could also be Laura. So I think I'm not settled on who yet.
Hey, we both.
So maybe Laura did get a book for somebody, but you're a maybe. You're a maybe.
I did.
Wow. Once people
Partial
credit.
credit. It's like I'm like when I was a substitute teacher. I have 2 papers here. They both don't have a name. Who did which work? One of them is an A and one of them is an F. Which one's yours? I don't know. So wow. We will see.
Okay. Okay.
Rico.
Speaking of interesting books to get for Christmas.
Yeah, tell us about yours.
Can I say one thing before you start?
Please.
So if you recall from the audio podcast that you listened to 5 minutes ago, if you're listening to this, I don't know why you thought this book was going to be a smutty book. Were you shocked that it?
Yes. Well, okay. So again, the cover.
When you said that in the last episode, I was sitting here because I told you guys like I know all of these books.
You know,
I know all of our books. So I was like, does anybody want to tell him?
Well, okay, so the cover, again, is 2 cherries in, like, a mesh bag. So looks very much like testicles, which makes sense when you read the book.
I have to bleep that out.
But, so it's very sexual in nature, right? And, you know, we obviously do the After Dark episodes. I think we were going to read Railed by the Krampus next. Yeah. And so, like, that
was on your brain.
Was on my mind, right? And so that was the initial vibe I got. Obviously, like, the synopsis... Like, it leads you to believe, like, it is a dystopia or a post-apocalyptic book.
Which we've read dystopian smut.
That's the thing. Like, these smutty books, the backdrop doesn't matter. And so that's what I thought we're going to get. It's like, okay, it's going to be like...
You can fuck anywhere, anytime, any condition.
I was waiting for you to get hit by that truck.
Doesn't matter. Your family's dead. You can still fuck.
No, yes.
World's ending, still fuck.
So to that point...
Remind us, what is the title of this book?
Manhunt.
Manhunt. Okay.
Yes.
Also, could be a little smutty. Could be a harem situation.
Yes, and they're hunting feral men and like to do snoozing, I guess. I don't know. Like,
so what is the book?
So this book really, I'm gonna say it's an anti-smut book, and what I mean by that is like when I read a smut book, and you know everybody can read them for whatever reason you want. It's for fun. It's for enjoyment. The sex scenes are supposed to be sexy and enjoyable and
I don't know how many ways you can say fun and enjoy.
This book had plenty of sex. This book was very horny, but not in a positive way. This book was very sex as control, sex as power, sex as loneliness. Yeah, this book was a very interesting read. A challenging read. It's full on horror. It's very body horror. The premise, with not too spoilery, just the premise is that there's been a pandemic has happened. They call it T-Day. Anybody with heightened levels of testosterone turn into feral beings. So obviously that affects a lot of men.
Right.
These men, these feral men, have barbed penises. And so there are sex scenes, there are rape scenes with these barbed penises that tear people up. So this was not an enjoyable, sexy book.
Yeah.
This was a what the fuck, like full on horror, full on body horror. It is very much a trans book. It's I think the author had said something about along the lines of like they wanted to examine trans people in this type of world because a lot of these post-apocalyptic dystopian worlds don't acknowledge trans people.
Right.
So,
These like gender-based pandemics.
Yes. And so these people now who need hormones, how do you get that in this type of world? It's like, wow, that's where the manhunt comes in. Because if you need testosterone, you hunt these men, you cut off their testicles, and guess what? Now you can extract testosterone.
Oh, that explains the cover now.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are militant TERFs in here. Like,
wow.
Yes.
Yep.
So anyhow, I do not, for the life of me, know why anybody got me this book. Truly. And I mean that really going off of only we mentioned earlier in the episode that we all filled out a questionnaire of like kind of things we wanted, right? I did not put dystopian or post-apocalyptic. I didn't really say horror. I do read some horror, but the horror I read is really like more spooky. Like it's about like vampires and witches. I don't really do body horror. And so reading this was a fucking trip.
Did you finished the book?
I finished the book. It took me a while. I don't know if I would have finished it had it not been for the podcast.
I mean, you didn't have to.
Was it a matter of like, are you thinking you would have DNF'd it because you didn't think it was good, or purely because it wasn't what you wanted and you weren't enjoying it?
I'm not saying it's not good. And that is gonna, it was just a shock that is going to play into my rating, which is really challenging because like there's like my enjoyment of it, but also like the book itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this book was well written. It is very visceral. The imagery is really well done. Yeah. So.
Okay, give us two ratings then. Like your personal.
I think my overall rating is going to land at a 3.
Okay.
Because I think it wasn't for me.
Right.
That's fair.
And so I'm giving it a 3. I think my enjoyment of it was probably
a little lower than that.
2.5 maybe.
Your face. I wish this was a video podcast.
But if people like horror, like body horror, if you like reading about realistic trans people and struggles, and if you like dystopian worlds, like this is a really good book. It's just not an easy book.
Yeah.
And that I can't say that like it's not going to be an easy
it's a
ride.
Tough subjects.
There's stuff in there that's really challenging to get through. And so that's why it's good. But I'm ready for like Christmas and oh no.
I can't express to you the thought, because like we're sitting here in the last episode, or the last time, the first part of this episode, and I'm kind of seeing everybody get their books, and I got to a point where I was like, okay, I know all of these books, and like Bella understands what your book is. Laura, you have a pretty good idea of what this book is. I understand what my book is. And then you picked up yours, and you said something about it being smutty, and I literally had like a blue screen moment where I was like, what do I do? Do I tell him? Do I warn him? What do I do? And I just stayed quiet, and I was like, I'm just gonna let you find out.
No. And I think you did the right thing by just staying quiet.
I was like, this is a horror novel. And even when you picked it up and read the back, I was like, okay, he's gonna notice that it says it's a horror novel.
Well, I knew it was a
Went
horror.
right over it.
I knew it was horror, but I still thought it was gonna be like some muddier horror. If that makes sense.
Like a dark
Yeah, dark, but
Dark romance.
Like
Yes.
a Butcher and Blackbird level of
yes,
horror.
that's exactly. And I think I even
So I think
mentioned,
you even mentioned it, and I was
Yes.
sitting here and just
Yes.
white knuckling, what do I do?
that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's darker material, but the ultimate goal of this is going to be,
yeah.
I
and
think
it
After
was
Dark-
not that.
I think After Dark may have rotted your brain a little bit. I'm a little concerned with how quickly you were like, smut.
I mean, I don't.
What else are you going to think when you see?
Yeah, I don't.
Pseudo
A gift for
testicles.
Rico,
Exactly.
True,
because,
true.
and again, because I'm going off of what we put in this
Right.
questionnaire. And so I wouldn't expect anybody to have gotten me a really graphic horror novel.
So what we're hearing is you're gonna fight somebody when we get to the
When we get
So
to the
when we're
reveal.
done, whoever gifted me, meet me in the other room. Or do not, or pray I don't get you next year. No, I'm kidding. No,
it's not.
Wow.
no. Ultimately, I'm glad I read it, right? Sometimes you need to read books that are out of your comfort level to just shake up what you read and shake up how you relate to books. And so this book was a net positive in terms of it did that.
And it sounds like it had topics in it that did kind of make the reader think.
Absolutely. It was really well thought out. Like I said, it has militant turfs and so much of this world is just a progression of the kind of world we live in. It wasn't super sci-fi. It was just the next step of
Great.
what if COVID, something like COVID turned men even more feral than they are. It made them literal monsters instead of just they're literal monsters anyway. But you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I was fuck, this is kind of scary. And putting myself in the mindset of trans characters that do get overlooked a lot in books is fuck, this is really scary. So anyhow,
Okay.
yeah, that's so last time I guessed that Bella got it for me because I knew right out the gate that this was something different than I normally would read.
It's going to be really bad smut. So
No, not that it's bad smut. I knew already that it was going to be just a challenging book. And it's the one person I feel who would do it on purpose would be Bella.
Okay.
And after reading it,
I'm just going to stick with you. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
fair enough.
I know you had played around with the idea that it was me at one point.
I did. I mean, here's the thing with this episode, it could be anyone for
It really
could,
many
yeah.
different reasons, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm curious to know who it was and why that person got it for me. So we'll find out. But yeah, no, I'm sticking with Bella.
All right.
Okay.
Emma, your turn.
To give us a little bit of a palate cleanser,
Yeah.
to take it down a fucking notch, I was gifted A Proper Dragon by E.B. Wheeler, a book that I had seen a few times before. It's kind of on my list. Where do we even start? So this is a fantasy of manners kind of a thing. This is a Regency era, think, your Bridgertons, your Pride and Prejudice, kind of Regency era romances, but with dragons. So in this, the premise here being that there are people in the world who are quote unquote dragon linked. This isn't super explained particularly well, but basically at some point pre-puberty, some amount of people become dragon linked where a dragon just kind of finds them and is attached to them and chooses them. And now they have a dragon that they are bonded to forever.
Okay.
And then because they have that dragon, they now have access to some amount of magic.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the lottery.
So our main character, Phoebe, is dragon linked and she lives kind of, away from London. She lives away from town. She's she's wealthy. She's not particularly poor. She's not necessarily the upper echelon of the aristocracy, but she has some connection to a name. So she's basically sent off to London for the season, as we all know, the ton, the season, the whole thing, to try and find a husband. She is the only dragon linked where she lives, so she's just trying to not be the freak where she is anymore. And much of the aristocracy is dragon linked because they keep it within the aristocracy. It's one of those kind of keeping the bloodlines pure kind of thing of if you're dragon linked, the aristocracy will pick you up, and if you are aristocracy and you are dragon linked, you can't leave that aristocracy. It's very much keeping it, some classism stuff there. So this was an interesting one in that I'm going to tie this to our last After Dark book, actually, and I promise it will connect. You think it wouldn't connect to Railed by the Krampus, but it's going to connect.
All right.
Are you regretting the written word? Oh, no.
One of the things that I had said about Railed by the Krampus was that, like, that was a bad book, which this is not. That was a bad book, but it is like you said, net positive when a book makes you think a ton. So, like, I had a bunch of thoughts that I was able to articulate about Railed by the Krampus. One of the things we were talking about was, like, self-published writing and things of that nature. And this is similar in that it's not bad. I thought this is a generically fine book. It was kind of, it's very shallow, it's very surface level, but it also led me to I believe 20 minutes worth of ranting about the Luddites, about an early 19th century political action group, which I'm going to try really hard not to do here. But let me tell you, the rant that I had about the Luddites in this book. So I'm just going to, the short version, do you all know what Luddite is? Like the term Luddite?
Explain it for our followers, though.
Yeah, I know, but they might not know.
So the Luddite, there's like two versions of Luddite. There's what we use as like the contemporary definition of a Luddite, and then there's the historical definition. So what we use it as is like somebody who's anti-technology. Anti-technology, whether they're afraid of technology, they just don't like progress, they don't like tech, they don't understand it. Like if somebody, your boomer parents who are like, kids these days on their phones are like, what a Luddite. Like, and it's like a derogatory term. Like it's meant to be like somewhat of an insulting term. That comes from
we use it derogatorily towards
yes. That comes from like an early 19th century political group in London called the Luddites. And the Luddites, in the contemporary definition of what we kind of learn about them, is that they hated progress, they hated technology, so they went and they, like, when there was industrial revolution happening or when there was industrial expansion happening in, like, the textile market, that they didn't like that. They didn't like any of it, so they destroyed everything, and they were bad people. Except when you actually, and that's kind of the definition that this book goes off, because the Luddites, the actual political group, the Luddites, are in this book. And in this book, they are violent, they are murderous, they lead the French Revolution, so they're like beheading people, and now they've come to London, and there's a murder, and it's rumored that it's the Luddites. And the whole time I'm reading this, I'm like, this is such a demonization of a group who actually what they did in real life was that they would go into these factories and they would destroy the machinery because it was putting them out of work. And they were starving, and they were just laborers who would go in and they would destroy machines because the corporation was putting unskilled laborers on new machines and putting them out of work and throwing them out on the street. So they weren't anti-technology, they were anti-corporate greed in a way that has now been demonized into that. But in this book, they are then further demonized to be like murderers and like extremists and terrorists. And it bothered me the entire time. It bothered me the whole fucking book. And I went on like a 20-minute rant about this early 19th century political action group that did like protests and wrote pamphlets and gave speeches. And Aaron, who was getting all of these voice notes, I can tell you guys about it, was like, I've never heard of this. What are you talking about? What are you? And I was like, no, this is important and it's driving me insane. Okay, that's as much as I'm going to talk about the Luddites.
Aaron is so nice to listen to your rants.
Has no choice.
He's an honorary member of this podcast.
I just send him notes. But on that note, in like a similar vein, it was emblematic, I think, of what a lot of this book does, where it really is not interested in examining its plot too much. It's not interested in examining the structures that it's putting in place. It's like you're kind of here for this Regency romance that has a little bit of like a mystery in the background of it, and it's not interested in interrogating any of it. You just need to accept it at surface level, what's happening. Like one of the things that this character is really like, it's supposed to be why she's so likable is she's very charitable. So like at one point there's a little boy who is hired to break into their house and search her room for, some of these mysteries that are going on outside. And instead of turning him in, she decides that she's going to make him her spy. So she's like, we're not going to turn him into the police. That would be bad for him. He can come and he can eat meals in the kitchen and he will give us information. And that's okay. She's very charitable. And later, another one of the characters gets pickpocketed by a little girl on the street. Same thing. She's like, we're not going to turn her into the police. That would be bad. We're going to like take her and put her in a school and like get her, education. And the guy has to look at her and be like, she could have a family. You can't just like take a kid off the street. Which I'm like, okay, all right, we're looking into this. And then she looks at her and she goes, little girl, do you have a family? Or do you want to go to school? She goes, no, I don't have a family. I do want to go to school. And they send her off to a school. And I was like, okay, this is what rich people think charity is you pluck one person out of poverty and put them in what you think is good. And we're not going to examine like what orphanages and schools were like at that time for these kids. And it drove me nuts the entire time that like the male character in the midst of all this, I was like, clearly, like surely we're going to come up to this point. And it never does. He's in the House of Lords. he has the power to like be talking to Parliament, to like do literally anything actually political about this. But no, it's like, it's just like cute to have her be like charitable to this little kid.
Yeah.
So all of which is to say, it's like kind of just there. It's
Here
really
for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, it's very surface level. It's not interested in interrogating or examining its own politics. You really can't look at it too deeply. I feel like this is the quintessential Emma version of a brain off book because like there's stuff in here where like there are interesting or odd sort of like inconsistencies or like not necessarily plot holes, but just strange things in the world building. So like these dragons that they have are like the size of a small dog maybe, or like a medium-sized dog or like a cat. And they're always with them. They're either carrying them, they're like on their shoulder, they're flying around them. These dragons are always on them. And a lot of the aristocracy has them. And I'm like, okay, cool, I've got that in my head. And then they have all these ball scenes, all these aristocratic balls and these Victorian ball or the Regency era balls. And in the middle of one of those balls, I was like, where are all the dragons? Like these are with you all the time. And you're on the dance floor right now. Where is it? Is it on you while you're dancing? Like right where what's happening? And I just had to like physically shudder my brain to be like, don't fucking worry about it.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. And there's so much in here that it's just like, I would sense myself going that direction of like, wait a minute, and just be like, actually, stop. I don't really want to examine this that much, and I'm just going to move on. And it was when I was sick, so like I was able to do that, because I was like, I'm not really in the mood to examine this too much.
Wow.
But my version of brain off is like, I'm going to ignore that, but it doesn't mean that I can ignore like the political stuff that the book is putting in front of my face. So that sounds like I didn't like it. It was fine. It was fine. It was enjoyable. It was like a net positive because I got to have all these thoughts about like the classism in the book that's not interrogated and like the actual political group and like what does it mean when we use actual historical groups and demonize them in ways that aren't true to reality. And like I had a lot of these, I got to have a lot of thoughts about it, which was really fun. I got to get a little bit like ranty about it. I got to look up a lot of stuff. I actually looked at more information about the Luddites that I didn't have before because I wanted to check myself. I was like, am I misremembering this or is this author kind of mischaracterizing this? So it was a net positive in that I got to have a lot of like thoughts about it. I got to have a lot of conversations about it that were interesting. But in the end, like the book itself, very forgettable. I might pick up the next one just like if I have another one of those moments where I'm like, I don't really have it in me to really take in any information, but I kind of want a story. So who knows?
Yeah.
Overall,
Like the Hallmark equivalent
yeah.
of a book.
I was like, if I'm in the mood to like not really interrogate something too much and I just like, if I'm sick again, I think I started this when I was in the emergency room. So if I'm like deathly ill again and I'm like, I really can't take in anything, but I can do
So the next time she's incapacitated,
Exactly.
Emma will pick up a book like this.
Yes. I feel like this is a fine book. If you're kind of looking, you're like, I don't really have it in me to like read anything too deep. I don't really want to get too in the weeds on fantasy. But like, I like a Regency romance. I like Bridgerton. I like dragons. I mean, you may as well. If you're not going to get too hung up on the politics, or if you like getting hung up on the politics in that way, which I really do. So that's that.
What would you rate it?
I mean, this was like a 3 at best. I don't know that it's much lower than a 3. It was fine. I think other than my frustration with the political system, I would not ever think about this
So
book
if you
again.
don't know what a Luddite is, you might enjoy this book.
Yeah, exactly. Like
It could be a higher rating. It could
If
be
you're
like a
just like-
solid 3.5.
yeah, if
4
you're just like,
stars.
oh, they clearly made up some fantasy term. And it was funny because like I was messaging Aaron about this and I was like going on about the Luddites and he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I'm pretty sure everybody has heard this word. And he was like, I don't think that's true.
Would you have not have been as bothered if they didn't use the word Luddite?
I wouldn't have been as bothered if they weren't using like a real life political group to then like demonize them as murderers and terrorists. But I still would have been worried about like the like amount of, it was just a very surface level look at classism.
Yeah.
It was like, we want to be very surface level about what charity is and what actual change means. Because by the end, the guy who is rich, he's a lord, the male main character in this pairing, is kind of like, like I should be more like Phoebe because she's charitable and maybe I should do more for my tenants and maybe I should do more for children. And I'm like, all she did was pluck 2 kids off the street and like throw one in like an orphanage school. I mean, you're supposed to believe that it's like a great thing, right?
Right.
But like, it's just very surface level.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
It's
fine.
someone who likes the vibes of like Regency, Victorian.
Yes, but doesn't really want to interrogate
Yes.
anything about the time period.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That was still longer. I tried to make that really short. That is so much shorter than the voice notes that Aaron got for me. I'm not kidding. He got like 35 minutes of voice notes about this whole book.
Wow.
I believe it. I believe it.
But that's what's so fun. Like, it still came out to be fun. Like, I still got to have a lot of fun with, like, thinking about the book.
You're like a food critic that's like, no, I genuinely enjoy
Yes!
destroying restaurants. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, good.
And I was like, you know
all
what?
right, good for you.
I like to have a good thought about something. Like,
Yeah.
it is better. I would rather read a book that I don't really love, but like makes me think, and like I'm still thinking about weeks later.
You guys should have swapped. You didn't think enough, and Rico thought too much.
Bella, when you said this was like a Hallmark movie, I was like, I would have loved a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, I think I would rather have read a book that like I don't really like all that much, but makes me think a lot, and like I get to have all these sort of like, I don't want to say like high level thoughts, but like higher than the book level thoughts than like something that I enjoyed but was ultimately very forgettable and I'll never think about again and like never challenged me in any way.
I agree. I would rather have a memorable book than a forgettable one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So at the time that we pulled these, I guessed Rico got me this book.
did.
I'm still going to guess that Rico got me this book.
Okay.
I still feel like it's you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I was the last one.
Uh-huh.
Are we going to reveal?
Are we doing so? Again, for the audio podcast, this is gonna be great for you guys. We are gonna sit here and close our eyes and point to the person that we got. Bella, you can go when we're not starting yet. So we're gonna close our eyes. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, open, and we'll open our eyes. Okay, so everybody, close your eyes. Point to the person that you got. Close your eyes. Point to the person. All right. And open. You're gonna open your eyes in 3, 2, 1, open. Yep. I was 100% right. Wait, what?
Yep.
What?
That was a good one.
Yep. So
So for the listeners,
there's a big white elephant in the room.
For the listeners, Jayson is pointing to both Bella and Emma.
Yep. And I know for a
I am
fact
also.
I knew there's gonna be at least one other person who is also aware of this. So this is where it gets interesting. There was a mix-up in the distribution of the books.
Yeah.
Oh.
So our helper put
Wait, were
the
you
wrong...
not supposed to get Manhunt?
I don't know. Hold on.
hold on.
Okay.
No,
Our helper.
him.
Hold on. Don't reveal anything yet.
Oh, okay.
Our helper put the wrong name on 2 books. At least 2 books. And the way I know this, I forgot to write my person's name.
I also forgot.
And so Sandra texted us and asked, who is your book for? So I told them my person. So when we were passing out the books, if you go back and listen to this episode, when it's Bella's, I pull it out and I don't say anything because that is not the book that Bella should have gotten.
Oh.
And so Bella's like, oh, it's me. And like, it
I
says
saw
Bella.
And I saw the hesitation on Jason's face, and I was like,
Were we switched? Was I supposed to get that and you were supposed to get this?
Yes.
That's so fucking funny. Because I was like, I want that book. But I also was like, this is perfect for me too. But you like Little
so
Thieves.
funny.
Yeah, so through
I see what happened.
Through part 1 and hearing you both getting excited about the books, I was like, maybe it'll work out.
Okay, look, this might be a little
Okay.
confusing, so let's quickly go through. Okay, Laura.
so
who got Laura's
Who got
book?
mine?
I did.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Amy-
right.
And that is the correct person.
That is the
Supposed to go to
correct person.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So who got Bella's book? Who gave Bella
Me.
that book? But that was not supposed to go to Bella.
I was supposed to go to Emma.
Correct. Correct.
Whoa. So I'm still right with who got who.
Okay.
Fucking plot twist.
So my book is Manhunt.
Yes.
And who gave me Manhunt? Yeah.
Everybody
that
points to Bella
that was
immediately.
Bella.
And then Emma, it's the book I chose
Yes.
for Bella.
That's so. Wait, we should switch after this.
We should.
So
I will read that.
I figured you guys you might want to switch.
Yes. So
And now you'll know all about the Luddites.
So when you were guessing that it was me, I was like, you were right, but you shouldn't be. Like, you felt like there was a pointed attack of like last time you didn't finish it. It's like it wasn't. I was going off of Bella's questionnaire of under a page count.
Oh.
Which and Bella's Regency, Dragons, Romance.
I would've
thought
that.
Yeah, like absolutely should have been a home run for Bella.
Fantasy, Kingfisher, fairy
retelling.
telling.
Yeah.
Which is also a home run for me. I
Yes.
was like, oh, okay,
Yes.
cool.
But
They know me.
because you two do have very similar interests, I was like, you know what, this might be fine.
Yeah, it might be fine.
You know why this actually works out? I think I have that book. I think I have a Sorceress Comes Call. I'll just look when I get home. I'm pretty sure I bought it a
You
little
now
while after
must
it came
read
out.
that.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
I'll have to check.
And then we'll
I think
have
I
to
might
do
have bought
a
it.
follow-up. I'll read that too.
Well,
That's funny.
What a
Yeah.
great plot. Honestly, truly the only mix-up that would have made sense and been okay, though.
Correct.
Like, if you had gotten Manhunt, or if you had gotten
Yes.
like, it would have, if
I don't.
yeah.
I don't know that I would. I don't know. If
I don't think you would have
finished
survived.
Manhunt.
Did you know what Manhunt was when you bought it?
Okay, I think we're gonna start with my reveal.
Okay, yeah. Explain yourself, please.
Okay. So first of all, you were supposed to get a different book, but I could not. I refused to buy from Amazon. So I went in person to a Barnes & Noble where they said it was, and it wasn't fucking there. So you were supposed to get This Delicious Death,
Okay.
which is a campy horror, like horror being like the vibe is murder. It's similar. So
Okay.
I hoped that they were similar in tone, and I was wrong.
Okay.
I just like how we all knew that it was from.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes.
and I knew that going. I was like, everyone's gonna know this is me, and the people I was with who are all very gay. And it was right after the election, so I was also very mad when I picked up that book. And unfortunately,
Bella's like,
you were in the
fuck
crossfire.
cis het men. Here you go. Such valid, fair.
So to be fair, we did say that when I picked it. I was like, oh well, he's a cis het man. I mean, he is a person of color. So like,
who's we?
you do not know them.
Okay.
You have other friends?
How dare
I have
you?
more friends. I do.
Shocked and upset.
To be fair, I wanted to get you something very different than what you normally read. So I read your stuff, your questionnaire, and I was like,
And she said, "Fuck that."
and I was like, I really want to get him like campy horror.
Okay.
I think he'll like it. So I try to get you this.
In a sense, Manhunt could be said to be campy.
It a wee bit, a little darker.
I forgot to mention one of the quotes on the cover. I forgot who said it. I don't have it in front of me. It's like hilarious as hell or something. I'm like, in what world
so that was
is this
also-
a hilarious as hell book?
And to be
There's some funny parts for
and
sure.
the person
but
I was with who said "fuck cis het men" is a master's in fine arts in English, and was like, "This is like incredibly written, like it's a great book, like blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. It seems kind of intense." And they were like, "Fuck it, just fuck cis." So I'm so sorry you were caught in the crossfire. It was like literally like the weekend after the election when I picked.
It was like, I went book shopping on November 6th.
Yeah,
All right.
I was
and
pretty
pissed.
angry at the world, and now that you were describing it, and I was like, oof, yeah, I shopped angry. So sorry, Rico. Okay, so the one that you were supposed to get was supposed to be like more. It was a YA campy horror, so I was like, it's not gonna be super gory or anything. So I was like, okay, it's hit some of his points. It's a little campy. It's definitely YA. I don't know if he'll love it, but I want to try it. And I'd heard good reviews, and I was like, okay, this is it. Couldn't fucking find it. I tried, and that is where the universe led me, was to Manhunt. And I was angry, and it was there.
I feel like maybe you owe
the same
Jayson
keywords.
this book instead. After
Do you want
that.
this one
as
instead?
reparation.
Okay, you're still a cis het man. Okay, all right. Listen.
I can't change that. Okay.
I know. It's okay. We've tried. It's been attempted. But anyways, you're welcome.
Well, thank you for the book.
I'm so glad it made you think.
It did. It did.
Bella has made you read Sting of Victory, and now Manhunt.
I made everyone read that. Even myself. I didn't enjoy it.
Are we friends?
No, I promise I was trying to get you like fun, campy, horror vibes. I was going for like 80s slasher summer camp.
Yeah.
And that was like modern day.
Yeah.
80s
Shock
slasher homework
in my
camp.
body when you pulled out Manhunt. And I was like sitting here, I was like, do they know what they got?
No.
I'm glad one of us was properly afraid.
When you said smut, I was like, oh no, I've done a terrible thing. But it was too late. And I was like, well, we're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna go with it.
Well, thank you.
You're
thank you
welcome.
for attempting to get that out of the book and getting. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that seemed really fun. I was like, I think he'll like a Coachella murder mystery. I think it's like different enough he'd never read it, but still in the lanes that he enjoys, but a little
You
bit
tried.
of me sprinkled in.
You tried.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think out of all of this, Emma is probably the winner because
You.
I do like my
You
book.
will be continuing.
Well, on that, I got you the first sister. My apologies. The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. I have been staring at this book for a really long time, and I'm trying to remember what was on your list. And I believe space opera was one of the things that was like very high on your list. And I was trying to think about. I was like, okay, like I had it in my head that I was going to go look at some lists potentially, but I was like, what space operas do I know that like I've heard a lot of good things about that I want to read? Like, first of all, had I read anything that you hadn't read? But this one has been on my list for so long, and I was kind of looking at, I went back and looked at the synopsis again. I went to my own Goodreads TBR, and then I scoured through yours while I was in Barnes & Noble, where there is no fucking service. It doesn't matter which Barnes & Noble talk about.
Yep.
No Barnes & Noble in the fucking country has service, ever. And so I'm sitting there trying to load your like 400 books in your Goodreads, and I'm sitting there like, hope you haven't read this. So I'm very glad that you opened it. You were like, oh, I haven't read this. Like, thank fucking God.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you liked it.
Yes, I did. I'm excited to read
We need
the
to
next
start
one.
having like a prize for the person that does the best.
Who won?
You should.
We'll do it next year.
So I'm really glad that you liked it. I'm also going to read it. And then so whenever I read it, I'll probably talk to you about it as well.
Yeah, let me know what you think.
I was very lucky that like I knew everybody's book. So I was like, okay, I can actually say that I know this book this time.
You can actually talk about all of them and
Equally.
Yeah.
Rather than
Cannot suspect
hyper-fixating
yes.
on my book.
And yes, I did
telling
put it
me-
in a bag because nobody wants to, everybody will guess if Emma wrapped it. But even when I put it in a bag, still guess that Emma wrapped it.
Because we to be fair, Rico did not define what he meant.
And I realized that. I
by
thought just like,
inconspicuous, but we had, I think, previously discussed like wrapping it. And so
to be fair, it was wrapped.
I mean,
Inside
in
the bag.
paper. In paper.
you
Inside
did
the bag.
technically, yes.
You know how some people will do makeup in their car? They're like at a stoplight and they're like doing their mascara.
Did
I
you
was at a
wrap a present?
stoplight wrapping the present on the way here.
Please don't do that.
I was like, stoplight.
Please
okay,
drive safe.
Tissue paper, tissue paper. Okay, I'll drive a little more. Stoplight, tissue paper.
Oh my God.
And I made it. It worked out.
well, you at least remember to put your name, the person's name on
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
I actually did not.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't put your name on it either. Mine was also the only one in a bag, so it's probably really easy to remember which one I was
so
talking
there was a
about.
possible three-way swap that could have
there
happened.
could have been, yeah.
I was really banking on that being the case for my book, but then I was like, I don't think
Who
this
else
book-
would it have been
Yeah,
for?
I don't know who else this would have gone to.
I was the first to turn in my gift,
Mm-hmm.
and I told him the name, and he repeated it, and I was like, yes. And so I thought he was gonna run over and immediately write it down. I don't know if he did.
I
I
remember.
messaged him. I actually messaged him while we were recording, and I was like, "Oh my god, the names are wrong." And he was like, "What? I thought I wrote the right one." And I was like, "I don't think you wrote the right name."
This explains why when I got home, he was like, "So who got you?" And
Oh,
I
did
was
he
like, "We
ask?
don't know yet. We're finding out after we read."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay," but he was like a
Because I
little
told
too
him, I was like, "Don't tell
concerned
anyone."
about that. Yeah. No, he was good. I can tell when he knows something, and I was like, "Why are you asking
just
that?"
like,
There's a
okay.
reason. I didn't know that. I didn't even like think about it being a possible swap. But I also forgot to write the name. But then I immediately was like, wait, I forgot the name. And I asked for a Sharpie and I like put it on.
I just handed him the
You
bag.
are just the smartest.
and I said,
of
it's
all
for
of us.
Laura.
Yeah.
He said, okay. So Rico, why did you get a proper dragon for Bella and give it to me?
Yes, please explain why I should like this book.
Well, Val, the reason I got you this book
Thank
was,
you, yes.
so obviously I mentioned like you love Regency historical romances, like easy peasy. The dragon thing probably was the one downside to me picking this book. I was heavily deciding between 3 books.
Please,
I'm not going
what
to tell
were
you what the other 2 are because
I want to know.
well, if I ever decide to gift you whatever, I will say one was a fairy tale retelling.
I do love a fairy tale.
Yeah, by
T. Kingfisher?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
So I ended up with her anyway.
Wait. Fairy tale
That's-
retelling by T. Kingfisher would be not Nettle and Bone, not the Sworn Soldier books, not the
What
Sword
Moves
Heart
the Dead?
books.
No.
Was it Sword Heart?
No.
Thorn Hedge?
Oh, I
it
know what one it
Thorn
was. Okay, yeah. I know what it was.
And then the other book was a historical sapphic romance adventure that was described as like Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets something else.
I know the one you're talking about.
And so those are the three that I was heavily deciding between. Oh, also you put under 300 pages, like 300 max pages. I think that's 302. I'm almost positive that's like just over.
It's 208.
Because
okay,
last
just
time.
kidding.
Okay,
And then one of the other ones is 302.
so to be fair, it's because last time Emma gave me like a
for sure.
500-page
Yeah.
book,
Well,
and so I was like, it's always flexible.
I had a short list of longer books that were like
Okay.
perfect, but those are the three finalists, and ultimately I kind of went like with ratings. The Sapphic one was kind of lowly rated.
Yeah, like
think-
this one's like 350, 320.
I think
So
similarly,
that would've been
Laura,
fine.
you put on yours like maybe under 350 or something, or maybe around 300, and I was like,
Something around
340
there.
is fine. This will be fine.
Anyhow, so
I got the audiobook, so that
and
helps
that's
me.
why I put 300
when I
because I
needed it.
expected somebody like Emma or you. I thought you would have been like, Bella can do 340. It's
well,
fine.
all I know is that apparently no one else trusts the sanctity of the questionnaire. I'm following it to the fucking letter.
Hey, I followed it.
Thank you, Laura.
I followed it.
To be fair, I was following parameters with a flare from me, a flare of Bella.
I don't know.
Sprinkled in. But Manhunter was not that. That was a game day decision. And it's won awards. I shouldn't listen to
Well, why did you
awards.
get me a sorceress comes to call? Which actually works out because, again, I think I own that book.
Yeah.
So now you have to read it
So
before we meet next.
So I didn't really fully understand last year when Jayson had you and was like, this is really hard to pick a book because it's Emma. And so I knew on your thing you had said you like fairy tale retelling. So I started looking up all these different books. I had a lot of titles, but I saw T. Kingfisher on there, and I know you like.
I do love T. Kingfisher.
You do love their books, and so I just kept coming back to that one. Again, I can't remember what my backup book was.
I had a backup book for you that I'll have to look up because I still was like, I should probably tell you what this is so you can go read it at some point if you want.
If I remember it, I'll let you know what it was.
Yeah.
But I think it was another retelling.
I'm not gonna live it down.
But yeah, I was like, I feel like this might be safe. It doesn't say you've read it yet.
Yeah.
I knew that there might be a chance you already owned it, which is why I had a backup. But I couldn't tell, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy it and hope it works out. So,
And to
Yeah.
be fair, the chances of Emma owning a book are really high.
yes.
So like,
Yeah.
I think it's fair that you were like, okay, as long as she hasn't read it, we're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
She can have 2 copies. We all know how many copies of Addie LaRue you have, okay?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can give one away to your millions of followers. Get out of here.
Wow. Well, was anybody 100% right in their guess of everybody's books?
Yes, if the books
Let me
had
look.
been correct. Like
I was
if
100% correct in how it ended up.
I was 100% correct. I was 100% correct
I
the
was-
way it ended up.
Yeah, I was also correct.
That's so funny. Because it's so funny that you say, because I was like, this feels like something that Laura would have picked.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like somehow Rico got me. Like it was really weird. The vibe was weird. I couldn't explain it. I was like, all I know.
This just feels like a Rico pick because you tend to find the more obscure things.
Yeah.
Yes.
mentioned that, yeah.
Yes.
So I figured this was
Yeah.
you. And then Manhunt I assumed had to be you.
Yeah.
Had to do that.
I knew going into it, guys.
I didn't think Emma would have bought that.
I knew going into it. I was like, I'm giving myself away.
Genuine,
with
I'm
this
so glad
pick.
we talked about it. As soon as you said the word
With
smutty,
smut.
I'm so curious what my face looked like because I feel like I was dying on the inside.
No, that was when I
It was
knew.
like,
I was like,
the world
oh,
went into
shit.
slow-mo and I was like, what do I do? Do I tell him?
Just Homer Simpson into the bush. Just, I don't want to be here.
No, that's when I was like, oh, he's going to be really unhappy. I just screwed him over. Yeah.
Well, it was an interesting year. It was an interesting year, regardless of anything. You know, it always turns out interesting. What a great plot twist in the 11th hour for that. to come out.
Jayson almost didn't want to talk about it.
No. I was going to talk about it. I didn't know how to find out who else it was.
Yeah.
Because I knew at least one other person was involved in, like, or was aware of this.
I wasn't
assumed-
going to. I wasn't going to bring it up at all.
You weren't bringing it up at all?
Until recording.
Oh,
Oh,
the
yeah,
recording. Yeah, I 90% sure it was Laura because, like, well, my book went to you, so I assumed those are the ones swapped. Unless there was a three-way. And so
Yeah,
we were-
because who else would this book have gone
Yeah,
to?
and so we were hanging out, and I told Laura, I was like, I'm going to ask you a question. If you know what I'm talking about, cool. If you don't, I'm not going to elaborate.
He literally
You know
said
what I'm
this.
talking
I'm not going to
about.
elaborate. I'm not going to answer any more
And
questions.
I was like,
What could this be?
okay.
And
And he
he's
was
like,
like, it's not that big of a deal.
It's just, I'm not going to say.
So melodramatic.
And then I said, are you aware of anything? I forgot. Anything?
any elephant in the room.
Yeah, with the book swap. And she's
And I was like, yes.
So that moment you're like, I know what I know, but I don't know what you know.
we had that moment.
We did. We were like, wait, are we talking about the same thing?
And I said, I hope it's only one thing because if there's two things going on, damn.
Man.
So, yeah, this was fun, guys.
This was really fun. I'm gonna read that book, and now Emma's gonna read this
Honestly,
book. We'll do a
like
little
these
follow-up.
two being switched is perfect.
No, it worked
Because
out.
nothing else
Yeah.
would have swapped the exact same way that these two did.
Like Bella would have hated this book.
yeah.
Really? Because I was kind of like, I might like that.
I still think it was probably too sci-fi for your taste. But if you do check it out, let me know.
I will.
You could also do the audiobook.
I would have loved if
faster.
anybody else got Manhunt.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Can I borrow it?
Absolutely.
Do you want me to just...
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Emma.
Yes. Gift your friends books that are on their list of things that they like. You know what? Truly, like, I feel you. You know what I was reading last Christmas? I don't know if this will mean anything because I don't know if you guys have read this. Last Christmas Day, I was sobbing in bed so hard I thought I was going to throw up. I was crying my eyes out reading The Sword of Kaigen.
Oh.
Yes,
that emotional,
on
huh?
Christmas Day. So you know what? Those holiday books, I feel you.
All right.
Sometimes it just gets you. So I guess we'll see you for this all over again next year. We will all write the names on
We're gonna
the
write
books.
our own names.
We will write the names on the books ourselves. Anybody have anything else to add, or are we gonna go get dinner?
Nope, thanks for listening.
All right.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
Shit We've Read is hosted by Laura Benson, Jason Rico, and Bella Romero, with music by Joshua Chilton and editing by Jason Rico.
To join the discussion on this and all other books we've read, find us at Shit We've Read on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
For more information about us or to request transcripts, please visit shitwe'veread.com.
This podcast is part of the Bilo Network. Visit bilonetwork.com for more great geeky podcasts.
Thanks so much for listening.